Hello. Oh, let me find us on here. Hello and good evening. It is time. Oh, Vanessa's watching. Let me see if I can find some comments on here. My phone is about to die, so hopefully that's it. Good evening, Catherine. So whenever I am in the group, I can't see comments. However, I've got my phone here and I'm looking at that too so that I can see who's here. Oh, there's Linda. Hello, Linda. But tonight's project is the bag of the month. It is the first Tuesday of the month, and as somebody did ask, when's the bag of the month? It's always the first Tuesday of the month. So if you can remember what day of the week it is, I know that is sometimes difficult. Yesterday I was thinking it was Tuesday all day, so I'm not surprised if you think the same. Hello Elaine and Jill. And who else have we got there? Christine, Tony, Carol, Caroline, Jenny, Sue, Patricia. Lovely to see you all. New glasses. Well, actually, hello, Sandra. I've had these glasses since and I just wear the other two all the time. And these are doing the same now, but the others slip down a bit here. So I thought, get those other ones out because I shall soon be around having my eyes tested again. Hello, Shirley. Hello, Pat. Hello, Dorothy. It's thanks to Dorothy that we have the Ellen bag tonight. I know the sun is shining. It is a bit chilly, but I've got a door open because I need a little bit of coolness. Hello, Karen. Hope you're well. We are. Thank you. Dinner time again. Absolutely fine. Hello, Jan. Hello, Christine. And hello, Patricia and Alison. I am fully recovered. I've got another day and tonight's antibiotics, and hopefully that has completely cleared anything that was in my body causing problems. But there we go. Hello, Hayes, and you. Hello, Linda, and hello, Sandra, and Joanne, and Jenny. Evening all, says Jenny. So, been a little bit delayed, but the grandchildren are back to school tomorrow. Hello, Julie. Hello, Barbara. And so I should have a little bit more time, but all the website orders went out this morning as well, so slightly delayed by a day or two, but they're on their way to you. Hello, Janet. Hello, Leslie. Catherine's never had a really comfortable pair of glasses. I know. The other two are comfortable, but as I say, they slip down, pinch my nose, and then I feel all nasal. Weird, but then that's me, isn't it? Hello, Amanda. Hello, Diane and Janet. Lots of flies. Oh, we haven't. We usually have one fly that hangs about in the study or in the living room, and it keeps landing on you. It is so irritating, and I can never get it. But never mind. I hope they go away, Karen, because flies are just irritating. Hello, Nikki. Hello, Jane. Hello, Carolyn. Hello, Sharon. Oh, so lots of you watching tonight. Hello, Jill. Thank you, Jill, for the proofreading again. So the PDF for the Ellen bag is in the files already. I have put some kits on the website. Oh, I am getting ahead of myself, aren't I? It was only about 10 minutes ago. Hello, Janet. But they are on the website. The one that we have already got made, which is this one here. So this is our Ellen bag. This one is on the website with a picture of it. The other one is going to be what I'm making tonight in jade and a floral. So that's on the website without a picture at the minute, but you'll know what it is having watched it here. Good evening, Karen. Yes, we're well. Thank you very much. So yes, this is what we're going to be making tonight. First Tuesday of the month, always the bag of the month. Oh, Barbara brought us another view. That's a good idea. And you've had fewer flies than normal. That's good. Sometimes we get two, and that is even more irritating, but not at the minute. Touch wood. Hello, Pollyanne. Aha. I will join you in the kitchen. I would love to watch. So, cottage pie is in the oven for us tonight. So, if I'm a little bit later than usual, I'm not going to get told off because it comes out piping hot, and I usually wait at least 10 minutes till it cools down to actually eat mine anyway. And by that time, Martin's finished. But there we go. Okay, shall we crack on tonight? Hello, Jack. Hello, Elaine. I meant to say, now let me see if I can remember. We've got 3 new members. I haven't seen anybody here yet tonight. Hello, Eileen. So I hope they can find, hope you're well, Eileen, your parcel. Your monthly giveaway is on its way to you today. So we can welcome Teresa, Elaine, and Leslie. That's right. 3 new members overnight. Hello, Kim. Chicken wrapped in bacon. Lovely. I could quite eat that right now. That will do nicely, thank you. But I wish you hadn't told me because I'm now feeling very hungry. So yes, I hope you enjoy. Teresa, Elaine and Leslie. Hello, Anne. Lovely to see you. And all subscriptions are in. Wonderful. So I had very little to do this month, which is great. I will be putting another post up towards, say, the middle of the month when the annual subscriptions will be due for those that signed up last September. I think there's a couple of you signed up last September because the vast majority are in January. So I just let you know about that. Hello, Lynn. I know, we said only the other day how quickly the holidays have flown by, actually. But it's nice they're back at school because we can have a bit of playtime and a little bit of extra time in the middle of the day to do all the things I need to do. I've got lots in my mind ready to go. A sew-along being one of those. A week of projects being another one. But I haven't decided how I'm going to do it quite yet. But that's what we should be doing. Hello, Beverly. Hopes we're all good today. We are. Thank you very much. Excuse me. So, I do have all my bits, and unfortunately, I had left them down here to the side of me. So I've got my instructions so that I possibly do it in the same order as the instructions are. So what will we need? So this one, let's put these bits on here, pull this over, probably fall off. Right, here's the colours that we are doing. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. So you can't see this side, can you? Because I've already put wadding to the back. So this is going to be your main colour, the jade, with the lovely floral for the pocket part. Hello, Carol. Oh, you've got shepherd's pie for your tea, Jack. Oh, snap. Can we pay early before my only one runs out for an annual? Absolutely, Barbara. What I would suggest for those of you who do pay a monthly subscription or want to pay the annual subscription early, please drop me an email as well to say that you've paid. You know, I'm checking all the way through it, and I nearly made a gross error where I thought somebody needed to pay monthly and they'd already paid annually, and it's very embarrassing when you get it wrong, but I'm sure you would understand. But an email to trisha@hotmail.com would be fantastic, so that I know as well. Oh, that said low power, didn't it? I didn't go on the low power. Okay. So yes, so those are the new colours, and this one is the original that I did. So we shall get cracking. So this is the pocket colour. So you will get 2 pieces of fabric, or you need 2 pieces of fabric like this. 1 piece of wadding. I've used Thermolam. I was deliberating whether to use fusible fleece on this one, which I think you could as well. But I used Thermolam in the original one, and I've got some bits sitting there. So I thought, I know I'm a tease, aren't I? So I thought I'll use Thermolam again, but I don't see why fusible fleece wouldn't be as good. So there is my other piece as well. So I've got 2 pieces for the pocket, plus, let's have a look, a zip somewhere. Oh, here we are. Plus a zip. which will go with the pocket. And I think the pocket we will be doing very first of all. We have then got 2 side pieces. We have got a top band which goes along the top of the bag, and then for the back we've got that in 2 pieces, so that we've got a base or a bottom piece and a top band as well. I might put that just there. And we have I've got it here, whoops. We've got the bag handles, slightly different. I have done it on another bag, perhaps the Vermala one years ago, where we have the main colour down the middle, and we have Evening Marilyn and Shirley and Patsy. So you've got a little, like a piped band down the outside edge. So with this one, I've actually made one because I didn't want to faff about. So this is the band for the bag we're making tonight, of which you'll need 2 strips. One is narrower than the other, and that's what gives the faux piping. So this is Moda fabric. It is Christmas, is it called Christmas? I can't think what it's called now, but I have had it on offer and I've got some of this left, and I thought that will look very nice. Evening Yvonne. Okay, so that is our bag handle as well. Meant to put some other thread on. And has Trisha put some other thread on? No, she hasn't. Now, what would we like on there? I want to do a thread. Oh, I'll perhaps use white, as I am using white. I should possibly use grey, shouldn't I? Let's see if I have got a grey that is wound already. Probably not. But sometimes I do have, oh, that's only a little bit on there. No. Okay, let's use a, yes, we'll use a steely grey. I know I've got one somewhere. However, and I would probably use navy actually. Let's have a look in this one. I've got some beiges. It's probably upstairs where I have some grey. No, okay. Oops, let's just pop those on the floor and those out of the way there. So as usual, I am going to use my wonderful Aurifil, and I'm going to use the dark grey on here, so it will show up just a little bit, but not excessively. Now, you know when you open an Aurifil thread and you think, where is that end? If you just unscrew the bottom like that, that comes off. Then the bottom thread, can you see that thread? Oh, it's just there. It is just here. There it is. Okay, so leave that little bit around there, and then we can put the base back on again. And I've found my thread. There's a little bit there from the other end. I'll just cut that off. So there is my end. So it was tucked under this base here. So let's have a look. Let's take off our white, and we'll just pop some grey. Oh, I've even got a cobweb. You can see this sits in the same position all the time. And I'll just whip that around there. I'm sorry, I should really have been prepared. But you know how it is. You start to do something. Let's drop that down. That's it. Hold the end. And get that going around. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to take out the bobbin that's in the machine at the moment. And we'll whip that up. Evening, Janet. Carol's never used Aurifil. Oh, Carol. Hello, Sue. It is wonderful. It is wonderful. Thank you, Deb. Hello, Moya. Yes, as Yvonne says, once you try Aurifil, you use it all the time. It's not just good, it is amazing. It is. You get 1,300 meters on a spool, and that is like 1,300 meter individual spools, and it is, I won't say lint free, it has the least lint, so it's not going to mess your machine up unnecessarily because of lint clogging up in your tension discs. It is wonderful. So it's Italian made, and hello Angela. Oh, hello Bridget, lovely to see you. And I'm just going to line this one up as well. Aurifil, I do not use any other now. It does seem to last forever, which is great. I mean, with 1,300 meters on a spool anyway, but I do so much sewing, I never realise, you know, how much I am using, but it's almost as if it never ends. It does, obviously, but the more sewing you do, the quicker you'll use it, but it does tend to last a long, long time. I'm quite lazy when I use it. I have one for the bobbin and one to be always threaded up. Let's just do that there and lift that up. Let's just make sure. That's it. Oh, there's a knot in the end there. I've gone through, the needle's gone through the thread. That's better. Just make sure that's taut, and we will just pull that through, also because I'm lazy, and then I'll just thread that up. So yes, Aurifil is a fantastic thread, and as I say, it is my go-to all the time. So let's just see, that's nicely threaded straight away with my threader, Bridget, but I didn't thread it through the tensions. Okay, oh, the last little thing you need, we've got a key, which I didn't show you, inside. There's a little key hanger, so there's a bit of fabric for that, and also I put cam snaps for my closure. So you've got a hanging pocket here, which is quite deep, so your mobile phone or your keys would go in there, and you've got a little hanging tag to pop your keys on, so that you're not grappling around in the bottom of your bag to find your keys, because they're hanging from that nice little key tab. So there we are. Okay, so now we are all threaded up. Let's pop that out of the way. And as I say, we've got the grey thread on. So I think what I'm going to do first of all is to dip you down. Hello Patricia, hello Mary, hello Bridge. Pence per metre, Janet says it does. I usually say with your Aurifil, if you bought 100 meters of Gutermann thread, Gutermann cotton, you would be paying around the £2.50 mark. So you've got 13 times, that's 100 meters. You get 13 times that, which is 13 times 250 is 26 and more, and it is £9.90 a spool for 1,300 meters of Aurifil. But as a member of the Sew with Trisha group, you do get a 10% discount. The code is Aurifil10, and that will give you 10% discount off any Aurifil threads that you decide to buy. So they are on the website. I did make sure that it was updated and the stock listed there. So if you are looking for some Aurifil, I wouldn't buy just an Aurifil on its own. I would buy it when you're buying something else, because the spool is quite large. It has to go as a small parcel, which means it's a £3.99 postage, I'm afraid. I mean, I do that, but if you pay £3.99 postage and it goes in large letter size, I always post it first class, because first class is near enough £3 these days. So, but if it's small parcel, which is thicker than an inch, which it is, it will be the £3.99. So it's a little bit too much to have to pay for postage for one reel of thread. So if you're buying wadding, fusible fleece, etc., add one in to give it a go. I don't think you'll look back. So Pollyanna loves her Aurifil too. 50 weight, that's right. So 50 weight is the one that I stock all the time because it is universally used, whether you're doing bag making, patchwork, applique work, handwork. It just works with everything. There are thicker threads and there are finer ones, but they have specific uses. But the 50 weight is for everything. So, shall we begin? Hello, Anne. You ordered the deal already, Jack. You are such a naughty girl. You're just like me. I would do exactly the same thing. Okay, so I've got my 2 pieces of fabric, my wider one and my narrow one. And so this is going to make the bag handle. I thought we'll do that first of all. And you're going to line up that long raw edge and we're going to stitch all the way down this edge. So I'm using a short stitch length as if I was doing patchwork. So I'm on a 2, which means you won't be able to see the thread at all. It makes a lovely seam. And I'm just lining that up. Now, if you want to pin all the way down here, that's absolutely fine. But I just like to stitch. I'm just holding that very carefully with my finger on the top. And I haven't cut that. My bag handles I've done at 20. So this bit was a little bit longer. So having stitched that all the way down one side, I'm now just going to, I'll move the iron in later, but I'm just now going to press that to one side. It's just that it makes it easier when you are, so I'm just standing out the way at the minute. I'm just going to press it because we now need to do the other seam as well. So if it's pressed nice and flat, just means the other side, to make a tube, it will go together much more easily. So I've ironed it like that, and then all I'm going to do is pull that piece over, the cotton piece, or you can do it the other way, over to that edge, and I'm going to now line that up. So you've got a bit of a bubble, you've got excess fabric because one piece was wider than the other, but that's what's going to give us our faux edging. So all I'm doing is just making sure those edges line up like that, and carrying on down. So just lining that up and keeping my finger on there. And I'm doing a scant 1/4 inch seam because the bag handle isn't extremely wide and we do need to turn this through. I very rarely do turning the bag handle through, but on this occasion, to get that tight edging, we do need to. So one thing to make it a little bit easier, can you see that there's that lump there? So what I'm going to do at one end, one short end, flatten it down like that, and I'm going to stitch across there because it's going to make it easier for us to turn it through. Okay, so I have now, just trim those bits of thread off there. So I have now, I'm just going to pull that apart where I have stitched it and just see if I can just tuck that in a little bit so that I can use a thick knitting needle is even better, but I'm using the end of a paintbrush. So I'm just going to make myself a little tuck so that hopefully I can just push this in there. I might even get, if I get my seam ripper and just push that bit in like that. So I'm just pushing that end in so that I can then get my paintbrush end. So as I say, that's it. If you've got a knitting needle, a fat one, so that we can just start pushing that end, but because I stitched across it, it means that I can keep pushing. That's it. So I'm just pulling those bits down. I'll just get it to go as far as you can because, as I say, I've got about 20 inches, but if you want to make your bag handles even longer, that's absolutely fine. So I'm just pushing all of that fabric onto the, so that I can get to the end. And there it is. So grab hold of the end there, and then you can just pull that right through. So that was pretty good. Okay, so I will just pull in the ironing board because I want to show you how I'm going to, that's it, here it is. There we go. So let's push this on here, turn it the other way up. I'm going to stand up actually. And I'm just putting my finger onto that. Let's see if you can come in a little bit closer. I'm pushing my finger onto the tape. There we are. So that I can get that roughly in the middle. And then with my iron, I'm just going to roll that as I go so that I can get a pretty even edging to the strap. There we go. So now what I should have done to start off with, that's it, so I'm just pulling that, just flattening that centre jade piece out of the middle. What I should have done first of all, at the end where we actually stitched across, I'm just pulling out those corners so that I can then, oh you can't see that, the end here, I'm just going to trim that off. So where the stitching is, because that will open it out. There we are. And now I've got a nice flat end there. So, as I say, iron on here. Just roll that so that it can be as even on each side as you can. And then that will be our other bag handle done. Just stretch that out to make sure I pressed it straight. And there you have a nice bag handle with a trim along each edge. Okay, Carolyn, never mind. Yes, I meant to get, if you've got a tool for turning your handles, even better. But this is just using the old-fashioned method, which I'm sure all of you will be able to find. You have a knitting needle or a long pokey thing to be able to turn it through. But if you've got one of those tools, absolutely fantastic. Hello, Gail. Oh, fantastic, Janet. Janet's put a link to the Aurifil. Okay, so I've got my two handles. I don't need them yet, but I've got both of those ready for when we do. So I'll set those aside. So the first thing we're going to do then is the pocket, the front part. Or is it, she says. Oh, I did do the handles first, so yes, we will do the pocket. So pocket pieces, the two square pieces. So one piece you want to have wadding on the back because we want to give that firmness the whole way down. So on that piece, there we go. No. We're then going to take the zip. Oh, that's not, that's better. We're going to take the zip and we're going to place it right side down onto the top edge of our piece. Now, what I do tend to do, I don't, in this part of a seam ripper, there's the blade part which cuts your stitches. So I make sure I don't hurt that at all. And I'm just using the end and I'm just pulling up. I should really get something less handy, less useful. Just pulling up those teeth in the end of the zip because I'm going to pull this metal bit out just so that I don't accidentally stitch over. So that little silver tab just there, I don't want it. So I'm just going to take that out like that, and we can then, I think we can then pull that little bit up and get the other end out also. There we go. Perhaps I'll have to lift those teeth up a little bit. There's only two on that side, so, which is good. And as I say, this just eliminates the risk of breaking a needle by taking out this this metal bit. And what that metal bit's for is to stop you pulling off the zipper pull, but I don't think we'll do that. So there we are. It's now gone. So let's put that zipper pull down, and we'll take that to the end there. And I will put, oh, I've got some here. I will put a pin just in that end to hold it together. And I'm going to open my zip just a little bit because I don't know whether I'll get past that. Now, what I would usually do, I have this amazing little foot for doing the zips now. I'm just going to put oh, there's some little teeth there, aren't there? Let's just move that along just a little bit because I don't want that silver metal bit to get in the way at this end. And if it's well off the end, then it's not going to affect. That's better. That's well over the edge there. So those silver bits at the zipper end there are well over the edge, which we will trim off. So I'm now going to take my other piece, that way, that's it. And I'm going to place that right side down onto, oh, that's what I didn't cut. I knew there was something else I wouldn't do. Anyhow, I'm going to line that up with the zip tape and make sure that edge is all lined up as well. I'll take that pin out now and we will pop in our, there we are. Okay, so I've now got that lined up underneath, and this is the lining of the pocket. Okay, so at that point I'm going to lift the fabric up and I'm going to take the zipper pull back past there, and then I can just carry on stitching the whole way across. So straight across there, over to the other side, all the way across and cut. So then we are going to open that out, and all we have is our zip in the middle. And so then I'm going to push that piece underneath so that I have got the pocket part with a lining and the zip sticking over the top. So if you want to press this, which I did previously, but I'm just going to pull that piece down so that those edges line up nicely. And then I am going to top stitch across here, so just on the fabric. And if you haven't pressed it, what you can do is just pull that under fabric, the lining there, down to the bottom so that that lines up beautifully, and down this end as well. So just line that up down there, and you can sort of pull that apart, and you know that you're not going to get a pleat on the underside. Okay, so now I've got a nice top stitch edge along here. So the next thing I'm going to do, which I've forgotten to cut, there is a pocket lining. Now the pocket lining, oh, I do need that bit. The pocket lining you just need one piece of, and that is actually going to be the pocket lining. So it's the same size as your pocket, and there we go. So you need to pop this on, otherwise the pocket is going to be open at the base. So it's the same as your lining fabric, and we're going to tuck that underneath the zip so it's right side up, and we're going to line up the zip here with the pocket. So we're lining up those edges here. Just make sure that is all in line, and we're just going to stitch that to that top tape, only about you don't need to do 1/4 of an inch, but 1/8 of an inch from the top, but line that top edge up here, the raw edge of the fabric, and stitch about, as I say, 1/8 of an inch from that edge, because we will be adding a top band there. Right, so this is going to be the pocket in between here and here. So those two pieces are going to make the pocket. This is just the top. But at this point, what we're going to do, we're just going to lift that part up, make sure these line up at the sides. But what you will find is, let me pop it this way. What you will find is this fabric is longer than your lining. So this is why we are going to then stitch along the bottom here, just to make the base of your pocket. And if you want to, you can trim away that piece of fabric. It's going to be on the inside, so it doesn't matter if you don't. Then we can place it back. So again, you can see you've got the outer with the wadding on separate. Here is your pocket. Because if we were to open the zip now, it's in there. Well, when I do the sides up, there we are, let's just do that up. So at this point, I'm now going to stitch down this outer edge through all the layers so that they're all held together. So the main thing is to go down this edge and to trap this pocket piece in with the rest here. So again, just 1/8 of an inch in. It is going to be covered. There we are, stitch down there. And then we'll do the same down this side here. And I could do that from the other side. So here is our pocket piece here. Those pieces all line up. And we'll just stitch down this edge here. And then I'll show you then how the pocket has been formed. Okay. So now when we open our zip, we have here our pocket. And as you saw, the pocket is enclosed at the bottom there. So nothing's going to go anywhere. Right, so the next thing we are going to do, we've got our pocket ready. That wasn't too difficult, was it? So having got the pocket ready, we are now going to add our side pieces. So side pieces are these two pieces here, 1, 2, and they're going to go at each side of our pocket piece. So if we line this one up first of all on here, so that will line up at the bottom there and the top. We'll trim off those zip pieces shortly. 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I did just reverse there. Now you see, if I hadn't taken those metal pieces off the zip, I may very well have stitched over them and broken a needle. Okay, so there's our first side on. So we now need to take our second side and pop that on here. Now, please look at, I think what we'll do first of all, apart from unthreading our needle, let's just pull that down. Oh, right. Okay, let's get a long piece, pop that down and around, and there it is. Okay. Right, what we need to do first of all, before we stitch this piece on, let's just pull back our zip pull because we need the zip this side. And then I'm going to, just for a belts and braces job, I'm going to stitch across the zip opening just to hold that together. So now I've held that together now, just here, so that my zip pull here doesn't come off. So I'm now going to line up this piece, this side piece, with the edge, and I'm going to stitch up here. So first of all, give it a little reverse and all the way up the side, and you can see my metal piece is out of the way. So before we go any further, I'm going to trim that little bit off. Whoops, and just give that a little snip. Okay, and then similarly on this side here, let's just snip those off. and we can now pull that piece back. Make sure the seam is going this way, so I'm just pushing that back because I'm going to do a little bit of top stitching. So I'm going to do it, oh no, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. If you can, just for it to be that little bit easier for me, I like to, and I should have done that when I stitched to one side of the zip, but I'm just going to put another foot. So if you wanted to put, if you like using a zipper foot to do a top stitching up one side, you can. It's just I've got this lovely little narrow foot, and I know Beverly has got it too, and I think Bridget's bought one of late. It's called the hinged zipper foot, and it just gives me an easy way of getting a nice consistent top stitched edge, because I'm using the edge of the foot. So I'm just making sure that that seam is going to my right, and I'm just top stitching up that side. Okay, you can see how that gives a nice top stitch there. I'm going to swivel that round, and I'm going to do the same at this side here. So starting just there. I didn't like stitching over there. Okay. So I'm just using that, the width of the foot, just to give me that nice top stitching. Oh, I didn't want that to pucker at that, so just pull that out. Okay. So now that I have my side pieces attached, I'm now going to attach the bit that goes on the top. So that's my top band here. So again, I'm going to pop that right sides down onto the top of where the zip is and the pocket is, and that should be the same width across there, which that is. But I'm now going to change back to, and I'm not usually one for doing this, changing feet, but I always say I'm a little bit lazy, but for some reason I actually don't, even though I don't have to take the screw fully out to get the foot back on, but it's much easier if you've got clip-on feet. Okay, so again, line this edge up here. So this is called the top band, and we'll just reverse at the beginning there and hold this other end just like we do in patchwork actually, just to line that up, and then we're going to stitch the whole way across here, keeping that nicely lined up, because we've already got it secured with that 1/8 of an inch seam, just to make life very, very easy. And we'll go all the way across there. A little bit of wadding hanging out there, so we will trim that away. We don't need that excess wadding. So then we're going to fold that back, just like we did before. And, oh, I should have kept that on, shouldn't I? But I'm going to top stitch, so I can do my zip up. I'm going to top stitch across here as well. So this probably won't be as good because I haven't got my, oh, let's see, let's do it a little bit further across, that's it. A little bit longer stitch. I'm using 3. There we go. Just make sure that is carrying across there. No, I can already feel that it's not going as exactly where I wanted it, but okay, no, that's fine. So now I've got my top stitching across there as well. Here is my zipped pocket. Okay, oh, I know what I've done. I know what I've done. I've gone too quickly. I didn't want to put that on now because I wanted to put my handles on. Okay. Seam ripper at the ready. I just knew that I would do something. Oh, you know when when there's something you think, I'm going to forget to do that. I'm just getting ahead of myself. So let's unpick few of these stitches so that I can unrip this easily. See if we can go from the back and from the front. So if you can pull a little bit from the front and a little bit from the back, and then hopefully we can get this nicely. Oh dear, you see, I've told you before, Trisha does things wrong as well. It isn't just you. I'm not foolproof. Oh, there's Susan. Hello, Susan. Well, you've caught me at a really good point when I'm unpicking. Right, let's just pull that, not that bit. Let's see if we can get this bit of thread here. And then we can hopefully just whip across the other bit. There we go. A little bit there. See if that's the one as well. And then a little bit here. The next thing I shall do is unthread the sewing machine, because every time I get a little bit, where is my thread here? Every time I whip the bag or any bit of fabric underneath it, I unthread my needle. Okay, we will get there very, very quickly. I just can't see the... Now this is a thing with grey thread. Grey thread is very, very good because it will go with so many different fabrics. And okay, it shows on the top, but it blends in very well with the wadding here, so that I can't actually see very well where the stitches are. So they're coming up a little bit, but they were in with the... There we go. They were in with the fabric and hiding. Okay, there's a little bit. Give that a pull. And that's from the other side. Let's go in from this end here and unpick. You didn't know you were going to get a lesson on unpicking, did you? So where I can, I try to pull the thread on one side, and then we can pull it on the other side and keep alternating one side to the other. It comes out pretty quick. Okay, now hopefully, what I could do here, and what I am going to do, my handles, which have eluded me at the moment. Where have my handles gone? Handles. Oh, here we are, right in front of me. So the handles are going to come down here. So I'm going to place them either side of my zip. So I'm going to have one going here, make sure it's not twisted, and one coming up there. Can you see the handle here? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to unpick. So I'm going to put very carefully, let's turn it around this way. Very carefully, I'm going to put my seam ripper just in there, because that little red dot should go inside. Otherwise, we could very easily, there we are. So I'm just making myself a little hole so that I can tuck, and I'll show you when we do the back of the bag what is going to happen. So I'm going to tuck that in here. So can you see I've made a little hole, and I'm going to tuck that in there like that. So I'm lining the raw edges up there, and I'm just for the point of holding it, I'm going to put a pin in there. So then this other side here, I'm making sure when that comes up, where are we? Let's turn it this way. When the handle comes up, it is that way. So that is gone down there, and then it's going to come up at this side. So again, I'm going to unpick this little bit here. And as I say, I'll show you how I would do it properly when I come to do the back of the bag. So let's just unpick that little bit. Just get our seam ripper in there. I don't want to cut my fabric. Okay, so just to rectify, so let's just see, that's going down there, and that is making sure it's not twisted, and then that is going to sit just on the jade fabric to the side of the bag. So I can see that pop in through there. So again, I'm just going to pop the pin in there. So what we'll do is go back over the area that we've already stitched. So I've gone a little bit further along, and there we go. So that has got that attached, and then start a little bit from, so you've got double security there, and then carry on stitching along that 1/4 inch. Okay, so we now have what we should have had. We have our bag handles in place. Whoops-a-daisy. So that's how you can put the handles on when we go wrong. Exactly. It's the hinge zipper foot. That's right. So I'm going to do my top stitching again. Perhaps I can do my top stitching that little bit better. Okay. So I'm just top stitching along the top band with our handle in place. And then we're back to where we should have been. Okay, so there we have so that's the front of our bag. Okay, so if I do, the next little thing we need to do before I go on to the back of the bag, I need to cut out 2-inch squares at each of the bottom corners. So let me just get myself a ruler. And let's see, let's put it around here, 1, 2, and we get a pen, and I prefer to actually mark and then cut that out, because I don't like the rotary cutter to overcut, otherwise you may very well get a little hole in your fabric. So make sure it's at the bottom edge, like so, and just trim that out, and trim this one out as well, and then I'll show you very simply how that. So really this is the most difficult part of our bag. There we have that, the holes at the bottom corner, or and we've got everything in place. So there is our front of the bag. Now when we come to the back of the bag, oh, I thought I'd done that. So we need to do exactly the same with the back of the bag. We need to, there is my ruler. We need to cut out 2-inch squares at the base. Now, if you've got a fabric where there is a direction for your main piece like this, 2-inch, just make sure that you are marking your squares at the bottom edge of your bag, because you wouldn't want them to be in the wrong place. So there are my two squares again. So we'll just clip these out here. So as I say, much better with scissors because you can be more accurate in where you're cutting those squares out. So all the way up there. Okay, so there we have our base piece. I have already put the wadding on there. So all we need for the back of the bag is the top band, and I wanted it to match the front where there was a distinction between top and bottom. So right sides together, and let's go back to our standard length stitch, and we're just going to line those pieces up and stitch all the way across. So 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then we're going to flip that up again with the seam allowance underneath facing that way. So I'm just pushing that back because the aim is to actually stitch into that, both of those layers, and then that gives us a nice distinct line. So again, slightly longer stitch length for our top stitching, and because I'm using the grey thread, it is going to show, but I think it's nice to have a little bit of top stitching showing. Oh, Trisha, why have you done that again? I don't want to do that, do I? How can you not learn? How can you not learn? This was where I was going to show you where you put your bag handles. So, yes, oh my goodness gracious me. So, yes, with the back of the bag, you are going to measure, and I will unpick this the whole way across so that you can see. So the front handle for the bag goes on at the side of the pockets. The back piece, you can just measure 3 inches in from each side, and then you can just lay your handles in exactly the same way. And I'm actually going to whiz this all the way open, or actually what we'll do, we'll just whiz the outer edge. So let's just pick that. Oh, you'll think this woman is going mad. This woman is totally insane, losing her marbles. And you might be right, actually. Perhaps if I didn't have so many things going on in my mind, I might concentrate on what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, so you can see how I just pulled out a few odd stitches along the way, and then it meant that I can pull some from the top and just pull it through. Because I was using a longer stitch length, that helped. So how we would normally use our seam ripper is we would go with a little bobble in there. So it goes between the 2 layers. Let's just push that. So let's hold it like this. And then I've got my bobble at the bottom, and I'm just going to start that stitching, unpicking a little bit, and that's it. We can just push that along. Now, as I say, because I'm just going to pull in 3 inches or so from that side. Or shall we go the whole way across? Let's go the whole way across so that I can show you how quick a seam ripper can be. So as long as you've got that little ball in between our 2 layers, you can just whisk that across nice and carefully. And there we go. So what you'll notice, a little bit of thread where it's cutting the stitches goes into the cut edge. So you want to pull those out as you go. Rewind, rewind. Okay, so there are our 2 pieces. Now, before you attach the 2 pieces together, what you do is you get your other strap, and it's going to go down like so. And you're going to measure 3 inches in from, let's get this one here. So 3 inches in from the edge, and we will put our bag handle there. So we will have a pin there, and then we will look at this other side here, and we will go 3 inches in from that side, and we will place our handle next to it, and we will pop a pin in there too, like so. Make sure your handle is the right side down, and the raw edges are aligned with the top of the base piece. And then we'll go again, and we'll pop our band, our top band, onto the fabric Make sure that's totally aligned there. And, whoa, let's go again. Okay, so keep that nicely aligned there, lining up with that end. Take the pin out before we go over it. Okay, and then we're going to pull that piece back and we're going to top stitch again. You never knew that you were going. So we'll leave our bag handles facing down. Leave those facing down, and we're just going to top stitch with those out of the way. So again, I just increase my stitch length and top stitching all the way across. Now do this as slowly or as quickly as you are comfortable with, and we'll get to the other side. Okay, so I've got a few bits of thread all over there, but you can see the idea. And there is our bag handle with the right sides facing. Whoops, there we go. So the right sides are facing outwards, like so. Okay, so what we can do now is put the two pieces together. So I've got my back. There is my front with the pocket on. Line those edges up here. And the important thing is to line up where we did our top stitching for the top band. We will pop that just there. I'll just put a clip on that one, and we'll do the same at this edge as well. So just make sure that is lined up there where the top bands meet, and clip that over there. So there is our top. Back to our normal stitch length, and I'll take that out just before I get to it, and then those two where the cut out corners are, they will align as well, and we'll go all the way down there and just reverse, and then we can go along the bottom edge. So we've got our handles here. Let's just tuck those out of the way, and then this edge here, just line that up, and that's it. That's nicely aligned now. And we can reverse at the beginning there and make sure that meets at the other end as well. And also along this bottom edge, we want that all to align nicely too. So had I trimmed away that excess fabric there, you wouldn't actually see that. But this is all going to be hidden in between the lining. And then we just need to do this other side edge. So just line that up under the machine, and we're just going down this side edge too. So I'll take that off just before I get to it and line that down the bottom where the cutout corner is, and zip down there. So now with here's our cutout corner. We're going to put our finger in the middle, pull them apart, and line up that seam. Have seam, so a side seam and a base seam. Line those up, and we can put a clip on the middle there, and then that is nice and flat, and we're going to stitch across there. Now, one thing I always do when I do the bag base is I always reverse at the beginning and the end, because the last thing you want is getting a hole at that corner. So there we are. So that's, sometimes you get a little bit of excess there, so let's just trim that away. So there is our one base, and then we'll go to the other side. Here we are. Here's our other one. Finger in that hole, pull it apart, flatten it. Look at the seam along the bottom here. Mine goes to the left, so I'm going to make sure that one goes to the left. So this one facing me is going to the right. Match those up, nest them like we do in patchwork. pop a clip there and then just pull that open, and we've got a nice flat edge there, which we're going to sew that as well. So reverse at the beginning, all the way over there. Okay, so there is our bag, which we were going to turn to the right side, like so. There we go. And we're going to poke out these corners here, because I want to make sure that I haven't inadvertently, that's what we want there. We want that nice intersection there. I want to make sure it's fully stitched and no holes in it. And the rate I'm going tonight, there's no telling there could be. Stitching that twice, honestly, I really don't know. Okay, so there's another one as well. So there is our bag. There is the front of the bag ready to have the lining put in. So lining. Now, what on earth? Oh, that's my pocket. No, what we need is the pocket first. Right, so we've got that hanging pocket. I don't know, or did I show you? Yes, I did show you the hanging pocket in there. So we want to make this hanging pocket. The other thing I didn't point out, you can see the top edge is the same as the outer fabric. So we've got a top lining here, and we've got the cotton fabric in there. Let's say dinner time for you, Karen, that's fine. Orifil 10, yeah. Can anyone remember the code? It is Orifil 10, absolutely. Okay, so with my lining fabric, I'm going to do the pocket now. So right sides together. So you nearly did that. Right sides together. And we're just going to stitch 3 sides. So we're not going, one of these short edges, we're going to leave that open. So we are going to leave it open, in fact. So we're starting at one of the top edges, and I'm just stitching down here. And stop about 1/4 of an inch away from that bottom edge, stitch across there, and back up the other side. So this is going to be our hanging pocket, all the way up to that end. I am going to clip the corners of the pocket there, trim those corner points off, and turn it to the right side. So put my finger in there and there. Might even put my screwdriver in. That's got a nice blunt but efficient end to it. So let's just poke that out nicely. So I've got a nice point there, and then on the other side too. Okay, and then I'm going to give that a little press. I won't draw the ironing board in, because you know quite easily what you should do with this is just a bog standard pressing your fabric and getting those outer edges on the edge. And let's just flip that over, and there we go. Right, so just press that nicely so that's nice and flat. Here is my raw edges, but I'm going to fold up the edge. Well, no, first of all, I'm going to stitch across the top. So what I decided, just because I could, and you could too, I'm going to stitch 2 lines of straight stitching across here. So I'll do one close to that top edge. So this edge is a seamed edge. It's the other short end. So I've just done 2 lines of stitching there, just across the top. So I'm going to trim those threads away there. So I've just got 2 lines of stitching. You can't really see it, but a decorative thread would be nice. And then I'm going to fold that up, leaving about 2 inches across there. Okay. And then all I'm going to do, so you can see there, this is the raw edge. I folded that end up and I'm going to stitch up this side here. So reverse at the bottom, and I'm just going fairly close to the edge, there we are, just to join that edge. Trim those bits of thread off there and at the bottom. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. So I'll start at the top and work my way down. So I'm just lining up those edges and reversing at the bottom, and give that little bit of thread off, trim off there. I think there's a tiny bit there, and we can trim those off as well. Okay, so there is our hanging pocket. So we're just going to set that aside for a minute because we need to make our linings. So linings, I've already cut out those bottom squares, and each of the lining pieces needs a top band. So right sides together, obviously using a plain fabric. There is no, oh, that's what I could do next, couldn't I? Stitch two pieces together. So one lining piece with one top band, and we're going to stitch along this top edge. So I'm just aligning those raw edges, and like I do, I'm just holding it at this end. They all line up beautifully. Stitch across. All the way. And then, just for effect, I'm just going to top stitch also across here. No handles to put on this part. This is just the lining. There we are. So I'm just finger pressing there, and then we will just stitch across here, and then it basically ties in with all the other top stitching that we've done. So just a little added extra there. So that one is one piece. Now you must remember with the other piece, okay, we are going to insert our hanging pocket. So I'm going to insert the hanging pocket in the center. So what we can do is fold our lining piece in half, and I'm going to put a pin just there to mark the spot. So there is my center of my lining at the top edge. I'm now going to place this in half, make a little mark and line that up. So I know now, unless you want it in a different place, there is my pocket ready to hang. I know, you've only just remembered, Margot, have you? Oh dear. Right, so that I don't have pins all the way, I'm just going to stitch about 1/8 of an inch from the top here, just so that now is anchored. And I'm then going to take my other top band, line that up, that edge, and again, we are going to stitch across here. So line that up at the other end, all those raw edges aligned, like so. And then we'll do a little bit of top stitching. So fold that back. I would press it actually, much easier if it's pressed, but I'm just going to nail press for the time being, just making sure that seam is fully behind there, and nail pressing it that way. And then again, we'll just top stitch across, just so that all that top stitching all ties in with the front and the back. Okay, so now we have two lining pieces, one with the pocket. We have got the hanging tab to do, the key tab. So I'm taking my other lining piece, right sides together. And again, the first thing we need to do is match up these top bands. So that is lined up there and aligned at the top, and we'll stitch down the side. So that's all in place, and then all the way down to the bottom of the cut-out corner. Now we go along the base. Let's just line those fabrics up, but we are going to leave a gap. We always need a turning gap. So we can line up that base like that. Make sure those lines, those edges are aligned. Stitch in about 2 to 3 inches and cut. So we'll just push across to the other side, start stitching again, reverse, and finish there. And then the other side we'll do exactly the same. I've got a light issue now, haven't I? There we are. We're at that time of the year, so I'm just lining up those top band seams just so that they are perfectly aligned. Okay, we have light. It's that time of year when it's just in between. I don't think about the light at the time. So align those top edges straight under the machine. Keep that aligned as well. And then all the way down to the bottom of the cutout corner. And we have our cutouts. So again, pop your finger in between the two layers, pull it out and flatten. Align those seams. One goes one way, one goes the other. And I won't even pin this one, but you can if you feel better doing that. And I should have pulled that bit out a bit better there. So we've got those seams aligned in the middle, all the way to the other side. And there is one bottom sewn. And then we want the other corner here. Open that out and look at my seam going that way. So I'm going to make sure this one goes that way and the one underneath goes in the opposite direction. And again, flatten that out and pop it under and stitch reverse there all the way to the other side. Oops. There we go, that's all nicely aligned to the other side and reverse. Okay, so there we have our bag lining ready for the outer to go in there. The only thing we need to do is top stitch or make. This is for our hanging tab. So the kits will have a little swivel clasp in there as well. So the narrow strip is folded in half and pressed, open out, fold the raw edges to that center crease and press, and then fold both together, hiding all those raw edges. And we're going to stitch down each side. So I'll just run the machine down here. I did press this earlier, so it just sprung open just a little bit, but we can just, because it was pressed, it will just fold back to where it should go. So I always stitch down those open edges first of all, and then I don't cut my thread. I just stitch across that end and then whiz back down the other side. Okay, so there I've got my narrow band. I'm going to thread it through that little hole, that little ring, line up those, the right way, line up those raw edges there, And then I am going to just stitch about there, just across that little bit to hold the swivel clasp in place. So let's just see, 1, 2. I'll just go backwards and forwards a couple of times, and then that just holds it. So it just holds that in place and won't ride up and down there. What you can also do, because I'm going to splay that just a little bit so that I don't have a lot of bulk in the seam. So let's just trim that a little bit. Whoops. Trip that there. And that little bit. I'm just going to stitch that just across, just to hold those apart. So I've just splayed it rather than put one on top of the other to make a bulk, but that is going to hang inside. So the next thing we need to do is take our lining, and we are going to put our bag outer inside the lining. So what I tend to do is just scrunch the bottom a little bit so that that fits in there nice and easily, with the seams, the side seams, roughly in the right places. So there is our side seam. Tuck your bag handles in between the 2 layers. We want them out of the way. So there's another one down there. And then we're going to find our side seam. So push the corners down, and then when you pull that up, the seams will line up like so. So we'll put a clip on there, swivel to the other side, and do the same here. Line that side seam up and there, and pop a clip on there. Then we can just pull that around, or let's just tuck those. You can see that's pulling a bit. So let's just pull it, pushing the corners into the respective corners there. But you can then see that this all fits around here really nicely. So just pull that so that that's nicely together, and then you can put either some clips or some pins around that top edge. That one just there, and then swivel it round to the other side, and that fits beautifully as well. So clip there, and a clip there. You can never have too many clips. And then I'm just going to stitch the whole way around that top. No, we're not going to forget. So in between the outer and our lining, we are going to pop the dangly bit. I would put that a couple of inches in because we're going to do a little bit of folding at the side. So I'm just tucking that in just there. Okay. And I can put my clip back on just to hold that in place. Okay. And I might even start by stitching around about that area just to hold that in place. So we've got our key fob hanging. So we've got it between the 2 layers. I'm going to take that off just so that I can go straight over it. And if you want to go backwards and forwards over that piece, by all means do. And then we'll just move the bag around just a little bit so that we're sewing along this top edge in a straight line. So I know a lot of you will have made bags already, so you know exactly what I mean, but just keep turning the bag like so until you've got the whole way round this top edge. So we've got the clips on just to keep everything in line. There we are. And each time we get no space left, we just move it around a little bit more and carry on stitching. Okay. And carry on, lots of bits of thread everywhere. And we're nearly back to where we started. And just go for 3 or 4 stitches after the point that you started stitching. Let's clip a few of those bits off. So there we have our bag. We now want to go to the base and we're going to put our hand into the gap and we're just going to pull the bag through. So grab the bottom and then just, I usually pull it round so that the lining fabric is being moved like so. Okay, we'll need a little bit of pressing. So we already poked out those bottom corners of the outer. So with that, just make sure that the top, we've caught all of that in and here. And what we're going to do is now pull the flap, the hanging pocket out of the way, and we can look at this bottom edge. So poke your fingers into those corners, make sure they're stitched. Poke these in to make sure they're stitched. And then we're going to close this bottom gap. So if you hold the opening just at the points where it is closed, where it's still stitched, you can pull that apart and just fold in and then use your nails to just press along that edge. So you're folding it about 1/4 of an inch and it's just perfectly in line with where it should be. Then I just turn it around to the other side and do exactly the same. Just turn that in so that it lines up with where that stitching finishes. There we go. And just turn that in, nail press along the top, and similarly there, nail press along there, like that. Alternatively, you can take it to the ironing board and do just that, but that has given me a nice little crease so that then they will line up beautifully for when we're stitching. Okay, so fold that over so that the seam line is right on the edge there. Pop it under the machine, and I'm stitching first of all over a little bit that's already stitched together, but that doesn't hurt at all. And then when I hold the other end, I can just pull those pieces together that I have nail pressed, and they are, just pull that over so that's lining up. And then I can stitch very closely to the edge, and it looks quite professional then, and stitch all the way along. So clip that little bit off, and there must be a little bit there. I could see it. There we go. And then just to test it, give that a little pull, make sure there's no gaps where the needle went off, and oh look, there's a bit of thread. And then we can tuck the lining into the bag. So it's not just the lining, it's obviously that top facing as well. So let's just push that right down into that corner so that the top of our top band is right on that top edge. Now this is where, yes, I would definitely press. So get that top edge there, have that right on the top, and push my fingers down into those corners. But, and I will show, I am going to press along this top edge under here. So I'm going to just pull the iron back in because I want to show you, because it will make for better stitching once, oh, there's a handle. Don't want that handle there. Okay, so I'll get my iron ready, hopefully nice and hot. I'll push the handles out of the way, but I want this top edge here to be right on the top. So I'll get the iron and I'm going to press on the inside just so that that's nice and neat. And then I'll just flip that around because we're going over the side seam now as well. So make sure that's right on the edge. Just pull your lining down a little bit. There we are, and give a little bit of press there. And then move it round a little bit more. Get that out of the way so that you can see that seam right on that top edge. Okay, give that a nice press along there too. It will need a good press after we've finished anyway. So this is the part where we have our, let's trim that little bit of thread out the way, where we have our hanging, and we will stitch over that as well. So get that bit right on the edge there. And I'm not going to press that part down, but we will stitch it down when we come to that part where we're top stitching here. So again, just pull that back, pull that inside, and just press around that top edge. So now already that top edge here looks so much better having been pressed. So let's just move that out of the way again, and we'll bring that back to the machine. And I actually like to stitch on this outer edge, but I don't want to tuck that under the machine like that. So at this point, what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold it so that the outside, so that the inside, so I'm going to grab this here and pull it out, push that bit in. So I've got my outside on the inside, push the handles in there as well. And we've pressed this all so it's nicely on the top. And I want that to be on the underneath. So that, my tab is going on the inside. So I'm actually going to put a tab there, a peg there, to hold it in so I know I'm stitching it so it's going down to the inside. But it's easier to actually stitch like this, unless you've got a free arm. This machine hasn't got a free arm. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do 2 rows of stitching. I am going to do a row close to the edge. So let's start before the key fob here. So I've pressed it so that my seams are right on that top edge, and I'm going to stitch all the way close to that top edge. So, so I'm going to take that off just a moment. Go a little bit more slowly when you go over where the key hanger is, because it is quite thick. So I'm just going around this top edge, it's about 1/8 of an inch from the top, so that, there we are, let's just turn that round a little bit. And then the next one I will do is 1/4 of an inch, just to give me 2 rows of top stitching. An alternative would be to use a twin needle, which would give you 2 rows of stitching as you stitch just once all the way around. But I just think, because I've used a contrast thread for doing this, to have a second row of stitching just adds that added extra. Okay, and we're nearly all the way around. So slowly over the side seams, and then I'm going over the first couple of stitches. Then I'm going to move in a little bit, or so that I'm using the edge of the foot on the edge of my stitching. So make sure, that's it, make sure your tab is flat down as it should be. It was nearly not. And we're just on the last row of stitching now. So keep pulling that top band round. And carry on stitching. But you can see from this side, just with that little bit of pressing, it already looks really quite pressed on the inside. It will just need a little bit more steam on the outside to make it look nice and neat. So follow that line. And I would also say, have you put a new machine needle in lately? I must admit I did just before this one. So A new machine needle will always make things go a lot better. It may not remind you to do things that you should be doing, but you'll get better stitching. So we're almost all the way around now. Pop that key hanger out of the way. Just make sure you don't miss where that is. Right, so I just carry on stitching over the last two, or the first 2 or 3 stitches that I made, just so that to try and give or not make a point of where you started and stopped. So trim those little threads away because they're also a little bit of a, well, show people where, there we go, where you've started and stopped. So you've got a nice stitched edge there. There is the key hanger hanging down very, very nicely. And there's that. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll show you this at the minute, because obviously I've put cam snaps. The kits will have cam snaps in. That's the back. So there is your front, okay, with your zip. Now what I've done with, there we are, the other one, I have put cam snaps at the side, haven't I? There are my cam snaps, so that you can alter. Thank you, Carol. What was you thinking? The same? I know what you mean. Happens to me all the time. Yeah. No, we'll have to do something with a twin needle. So if you want to, so that's the shape of the bag, as opposed to, let me just pop this one up here. So if you like added security, I've put the cam snaps at the top so that you can't go into it. Okay, so let's just hold that down there. So there is the shape of the bag with the additional cam snaps. It's a bit straighter, whereas that one, can you see how it goes out at the top? There we are. Oh, that's lovely. I hope Ellen would have approved. I hope she's watching. I'm sure she's there somewhere. So that is where we folded in, and this one is where we haven't. So the choice is yours, okay? And the back, as you see, just by having that top band, it ties in with the front as well. And the top inside, yeah, I just think that top layer also makes it look a bit more professional as well. So if you were looking to put some cam snaps on at the sides, all I did was push the seam in. So push in, there is the seam, push it in and fold it back on itself. Okay, just about an inch. Okay, so that's what I did. So actually I'll put a binding clip there so that you can see. Okay, so I'll put a binding clip there so you can see I folded that in, and then it makes it straighter rather than moving out diagonally. Oh, jolly good, Joanna and Alison, I'm glad. And then all you need to do is pop a cam snap on this side and that side, and pop it together. And if you did that, if you wanted to put cam snaps on the top of the bag here, you can do that too. So just measure about a ½ inch down from the actual edge of the cam snap, so an inch in total, and pop your cam snaps, one on one side, one on the other, and just make sure your button pieces are on the outside, just like this one, and line them up, and it's as easy as that. So let's just pull. So I thought, you know, by doing both ways, you would be able to see what sort of bag that you could get. And we've got the zip. I know a lot of you love zips. A lot of you are terrified, but the more we have a play, and there is your pocket there, nice big pocket on the front, nice hanging pocket. I don't know which side I got my hanging pocket. I wanted my, okay, I meant to have my hanging pocket at the back, but I've got my hanging pocket at the front. There's my hanging pocket, and there is, here, there is my key fob. So it's good the key fob is there because that will be at the front and nice and safe and secure. Thank you, Dorothy, and thank you, Linda. Jolly good. So, oh, that's it. Unthreaded the needle again. Unbelievable. There we go. It's threaded itself round. That's it. So there's the two options, the linen or the jade. If you would like to, a kit, they are on the website. There is a discount code. Please don't forget to use it. It gives you a £3 discount. So what you're thinking, I'm preaching to the converted. You've saved £3 of your £5 monthly fee anyway. So I have put the PDF for it on the website, as well as you've got it in the group for free. So download it from there. But you'll see that it's on the website as well for £6. So just by being in the group, you saved £1 already. So there we are. Thank you, Josie, and thank you, Jill. So I'm going to love you and leave you. Oh my goodness, I've exceeded by 12 minutes. It's a good job I'm not getting told off tonight. So I'm going to love you and leave you. I'll perhaps see you on Thursday. We'll have a fabric sale, and Friday I've got a little bowl, and I might have some news on the next sew along by then. So take care of yourselves, enjoy your evening, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye for now.